1, 2. Testing, 3, 4. Testing, 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing. What I want to do is I want to broadcast on YouTube, and I don't know if this is broadcasting or not. Are we broadcasting? We are. Very good. All right. This is my first of a series of videos that I want to do. This is just I'm an amateur. I'm not a pilot. I want to say that right off the bat, as I am not a pilot. But I do enjoy playing Flight Simulator. I've had Microsoft Flight Simulator all the way since back basically when they first came out, and back in the early 90s. Not sure what year. It was before they had trees, let's put it that way. And they just had that little flat screen, and then they came out with the 3D, and then they came out with trees, and we were so excited. And anyway, they came out now with, I'm going to go full, well, let me do stay, I'm not going to stay full screen, I'll put full screen yet. But anyway, they came out with Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, and then now they have the Garmin G1000. It's a little bit closer to the real Garmin G1000. And what I want to do here is I'm using SkyVector. Let's go ahead and look at SkyVector. And I already set it up here on the little flight plan. SkyVector is something that pilots use in the real world, but you can also use it, of course, for Flight Simulator. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking off from Kilo Papa Whiskey Tango, which is Bremerton, and then we are going to fly to Hoquiam, Kilo Hotel Quebec, Mike, and that's Hoquiam, Washington. And we're doing an IFR. So what we're going to do is we're going to put in these waypoints into the plane. So let's go ahead and look at our Garmin G1000, and I'm going to put flight plan in there, and then what we want to do is just press the button there. Origin is going to be Kilo Papa Whiskey Tango. Now I can twist these knobs. Normally you twist the knob there, and then you move it over, and then you twist the other knob. LMNOP, QRS, going past the P. Let's go to Whiskey. And then Tango. Let's Tango, LMNOPQRST. There it is, Bremerton. So I'm going to press enter. I'm not going to select a. Okay, we'll finish setting up later. Microsoft Windows. I'm not going to put in a runway, so I'm going to press enter again, and then now we're going to go in route, and we got Wanku. So we go back here, and then I can do all of that twisting again. But what I'm going to do, Microsoft Flight Simulator has this little button right here. You can just press that, highlight that, and then we'll put in Wanku, W-O-N-K-U, and then you press that in again. Now, why does it say BC? Is it Wanku, BC? It's not in British Columbia. Wanku, W-O-N-K-U. Let's look at that again. W-O-N-K-U. Okay, well, that's right. I'm going to go ahead and press enter. And that's, okay, that's 21. I don't know why it said BC. Anyway, maybe there's a back course. I don't know. I'm not a pilot. And then we got ULES. That's going to be heading us right in to the runway. And so we'll put in ULES. Back to the Microsoft Flight Simulator. I'm going to go ahead and just go right on that, and then we'll go ULES. Hit that. ULES. And now it says Victoria, so that's interesting. I'm not in British Columbia. So press enter, and then there we go. And then our destination, of course, is going to be, or that again, I'll do this little keyboard thing, is Kilo Hotel Quebec M, Hoquiam, Washington. That's right near Aberdeen, and it's right along the coast. And we'll go ahead and take that off again and press enter. And then now what we want to do is okay, no, I don't want a runway. What we want to do is we want to do 20,800, no, we want to do 8,000 feet. I'm thinking that might be a little too high. We might run into some icing. But anyway, 8,000 feet. When I put that in Wonku, it'll populate it right here. Wonku. And now, Hoquiam is not at 8,000 feet. So what I want to do with Hoquiam, with that one, is I want to look again at this plate right here. We got Bowerman, Hoquiam Bowerman, and they got now what we're going to be doing, we're ILS or localized runway 24. We're going to do the localizer. We're going to do an ILS approach there. So we'll press that right there, and then we got right here. Let me go ahead and widen that. Okay, widen that a little bit, and we want to look at the elevation of the runway. The elevation of the runway, and that would be 18, touchdown zone 16. So I guess that would be what we would put in, is just put in 0. Okay, give me a 0. 0, 0, 1, 8. Press enter. 18 feet, enter. And then this is for our top of descent. We'll look at that a little bit later. What we're going to do, okay, press, okay, that's good enough. We'll just hit flight plan. Hit flight plan again. So, okay, so that adjusted ULEFT to 6835. That'll work. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and take off. I'm going to go ahead and on my assigned altitude, I'm going to go ahead and put in 8,000. I'm going to go ahead and press B on my keyboard, and that set my altimeter. Now what I could do is listen to the automatic weather observation station here in Bremerton. But anyway, just press B on the keyboard, and that sets the altimeter. And I want to see this heading right here is just kind of like true north. I could twist this around, or I could just press the button. When I press the button, it sets it to our current heading. So I'll press the button, and then that sets that to our current heading. And everything looks good there. I'm going to keep the flight plan up for now. I'm going to take the brake off. I got my rudder pedals on, put on the pitot heat, and then I think we're ready to fly. And now what I want to do is I want to go full screen, and I like to see if I can do it here. I like to kind of like see the nose a little bit. Not too much nose, but anyway, there we go. And so we are now ready to take off, and I'm going to go ahead and say straight out.
Kilo Papa Whiskey Tango Traffic Cessna November Charlie 77 Charlie
So we
Charlie
got everything
taking
set.
off runway 02
You know, of course,
straight
in
out
real
departure.
life, there's checklists and whatnot. But here we go. Kind of spool up here. We should rotate at about 55 knots and climb about 62 or so. But anyway, we'll rotate at 55. The wind is calm here, and then we'll rotate, and I'm going to give it about 7 degree, and then I'm going to hit my autopilot. Want to get a good roll on there, autopilot. That holds my roll and pitch. And now I'm going to hit flight level change. That'll keep us at about 80 knots. And I want to hit, I'm going to go ahead and hit nav. I don't need to hit my heading because, oh yes I do. Yes I do, because we are going the opposite direction. So what we want to do now is we want to turn, we took off on runway 2. I meant to take off on, for whatever reason, Microsoft Flight Simulator, even though the wind, well, I guess the wind was blowing this direction. Okay, so anyway, we're going to go ahead and twist around with our, this is real-time weather, by the way, and we'll twist around toward our, and I'm going to hit nav now too, and it'll capture our nav once we get close. It's already captured it. Okay. And now we're climbing. And we are on our way. The outside air temperature right now is 3 degrees. I have a feeling that we're going to be running into some ice. Put the fuel pump on. I don't know if we're going to have any problems or not with icing. But no, we're going to climb just to a steady 8,000 feet. Now, while we're climbing, anyway, let's take a look at Bremerton here. This is Kilo Papa Whiskey Tango. This is Bremerton National Airport. And we had some pretty nasty weather today. Now, in the direction that we're going, we'll go ahead and clear the flight plan there, and then, well, not clear it, but, okay. Let me take the weather off real quick, and I just want to show you, there is some mountains right here. These are called the Olympic Mountains, but we're very well clear of the Olympic Mountains. This, of course, is Mount Rainier. I believe that's Mount St. Helens right there. There's Mount Rainier, Mount St. Helens, and some other mountains. There's Portland. So, going back in here, we have Green Mountain and Gold Mountain not too far away from Bremerton. And we are now on our way. I'm going to turn the weather back on, and as we can see, the weather is pretty bad. Not a whole really bad there, but anyway, what I'm going to be doing is we're just doing a steady climb at 80 knots using our flight level change. Outside air temperature is now 0. I'm thinking that we're going to be running into some icing, so I might just stay low here. I think I'm going to stay low. I'm going to stay at 4,000 feet. So what I'm going to do now is at 4,000 feet, I'm going to do altitude hold. Because it's now -1. So let's just do 4,000 feet. Okay, 3980, that'll work. Alright, now what I wanted to do is looking at our flight plan again. You press this button here, and then you look at Hoquiam right here, and then you press enter, and now we have the frequencies. And what I want to do is the automatic, the ASOS, this is the weather right here, 135.775. I'm going to put that in on my second radio there. So I'm going to press the button here, 135, what was it? 135.775. So take that outer number, make it 775, and that inner number is 135, 135.775, and I'm going to make that active, and then I'm going to monitor. Let's back off
Kilo
on
Hotel Quebec Mike automated weather observation 2300 Zulu. Wind 184 at 6.
184
Visibility
at
10 in
6.
heavy rain. Sky condition. Few clouds at 1,700 feet. Ceiling 4,600 feet.
It's pretty strong radio. I mean, we're still in the Bremerton area, and we're hearing it.
Altimeter 29908. Kilo.
Okay, so 184. That would be coming in pretty much from the south there. So the runways there are runway 24. So that's the runway that we want to land on. And I believe what we can do here, let me press this, and then this right here, if you highlight this, press enter, and that'll go right there, 10870. So that went, I just pressed enter right there, and then press that again, and that put in 10870 into our nav right there. And now what I can do is I can push that over, and then I'm going to go ahead and monitor that. Once we get in range, we should be able to hear that. So far, no icing, so that's good. We are over Belfair right now. Belfair, Washington. Soon to be Allen. And now what I want to do with the flight plan here is I want to hit a procedure now and just load it. So we'll go back to the flight plan here, and then we'll hit the procedure, and we'll select approach, we'll press enter, and that's going to be the ILS 24, and we'll press enter, and ULES is what I want. That's going to be my initial approach fix. So we'll press enter there. No minimums right now, we don't worry about that, and we'll just hit load. Yes, not approved for GPS guidance. Monitoring load approach. Alright, so now what this is doing is this is having us now I want to, since, and this is, again, I'm an amateur, so maybe I'm not doing this the right way, okay? But I can see now that Hoquiam is still there. I want to remove this. I want to clear this. So I'm going to clear this because ULES, and actually I can probably clear this one too. I'm going to go clear both of those. Press enter, okay. Okay, and it cleared ULES also. And then so we'll go ahead. So now we go Wangku, and then our initial approach fix is ULES at 4575. And then we got top of descent after ULES, going down to, all right. We're at 4,000 feet right now, so I'm not going to go to 8,000 feet. So okay, I'm trying to figure this out here. I'm going to change. Let's change Wangku. How about 46? 4,600. Enter. Enter. And that's 4,600. And now Wangku is at 4,600. We'll go ahead and climb to 4,600. 4,600. We'll use V speed. I'm going to go up 700 feet a minute. Outside air temperature is -1, but I don't see any ice on the windshields so far. I'm going to tune the Seattle approach. Request flight
Seattle
following
approach
since
Cessna
I'm in
November
the
Charlie
clouds.
77 Charlie Charlie is type Cessna Skyhawk 8 miles northeast of Kilo Sierra Hotel November 4,200
Now
feet.
there is an airplane in the
Request flight
sky.
following.
Cessna
I have,
November Charlie 77 Charlie Charlie Seattle approach. Squawk 1674.
We'll get back to that airplane. 6, 7, 4.
Cessna 7 Charlie, Charlie radar contact 7 miles
We are at
northeast
altitude
of Kilo
now.
Sierra Hotel November, 4,500 feet. Altimeter 29.904.
And I'll go ahead and say
Roger, Cessna 7 Charlie Charlie.
29904. So the altimeter, we'll just bring that down. 29904. The altimeter. So Wanku, we got it at 4,600 feet. We are pretty much in the clouds here. But anyway, getting back to that plane, ASA 862. There's a really neat thing. It's called Flight Radar 24. Many of you flight enthusiasts probably already know about it. With Flight Radar 24, you can type in ASA, what was it again? anyway. ASA 624, is that what it was? No, that was something else. Anyway, you can type in the particular plane and it'll show you where its origin and where it's going. This is real-time weather or real-time flights going on. So we are now just at about altitude 4,600. And ULES is 4578. Intercept is 2300. So I'm going to go ahead and now assign the altitude to 2300. 2300, and we're going to do VNAV. And so our vertical path is loaded. Looking at our flight plan here, we can press enter. That's Wanku, that's about where we are right now. And then ULES is our initial approach fix, and that'll be our top of descent. Will be as soon as we hit ULES, we should be descending. Got intercept right there, and then we have LAM, and then we have NETI, and then we have 24, route 24, or runway 24. And what we're going to do when we hit our initial approach fix there, which is ULES, actually, okay, we are now on our first turn. This is all an amateur look at how to fly IFR experience only through Microsoft Flight Simulator. The smallest plane I've been into, one time a friend of mine took me up in a Piper Cherokee, and that was a few years ago. Smallest jet that I've been in was it was an Air Force jet. Trying to think of the jet. T-39, Air Force T-39. And that was a long time ago when I was younger. Saberliner. Saberliner. It's a North American Saberliner, mid-sized business jet for the Air Force. They built over 800 of them. And me and a buddy of mine flew across the nation in one of those. They were flying generals. We were both in the Navy, and they were picking up a couple of generals, and we were able to hop on board. It was really neat. But that's the smallest jet that I've ever flown on. So anyway, I just wanted to say all of that to say that all of this right here, this IFR stuff, since they've updated the Garmin G1000 and Microsoft Flight Simulator, this is all still pretty new to me. And you know, if you're watching this and you're not familiar with this, maybe this will enlighten you a little bit. You know, we're learning together, let's put it that way. So we are now going to ULES, and then ULES we're going to do the intercept, and then when we hit intercept, I am going to switch from GPS mode to when we hit intercept, I'm going to hit switch GPS mode to nav mode, or to the localizer, and we already have the localizer in 108.70, and when we capture that, we'll go ahead and switch from GPS mode, which are GPS mode right now. We're going to switch, we're going to tap the course deviation indicator button right here. That'll switch us to the ILS, Instrument Landing System. But we won't do that until we're actually lined up with the runway and on intercept on this particular waypoint. We should be lined up, and then what we're going to do from there is we're going to hit approach. But anyway, from here I have the top of descent right at about where ULES is, and then it'll bring us down to intercept to from 4571, which is basically where we're at now. We're at 4,600 feet. I guess I can go 4550. Can I do that? No, I want to have this at 2300. So anyway, we got the vertical path loaded. So once we hit let me do this real quick. $46, $45. I'm going to go ahead and V-speed us down to 4,500. Okay, now we got the signal there from Hoquiam. So that's instrument HQUM. So we got 4,500 feet. Now, in order for the V-speed to work, or not the V-speed, in order for the V-nav to work, we have to assign it to a lower altitude. So 2,300 feet is what the flight plan calls for. So we'll go with 2,300 feet, and we'll hit V-nav. Now, okay, the vertical path is loaded, and so now when we get to ULES, that's TOD, which means top of descent, we'll automatically start descending. So we have the Morse code now for KHQM. So we are capturing that radio signal. So we're going to go ahead, and it's the proper one. It's on screen. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. Running into a little bit of daylight here. what I want to do with Microsoft Flight Simulator is I want to fly this plane all the way down from Hoquiam all the way down to the bottom of South America, all along the coast, and we'll explore the coast. And we're going to do that in a series of videos through this channel, through this YouTube channel, and explore a little bit the world through Microsoft Flight Simulator, and all using this GPS autopilot, and maybe gain a little bit more knowledge of how this all actually works. We are now 1.6 nautical miles. Alright, now we can see that our VPAP has loaded now. And we are 1.3 nautical miles from our initial approach fix. 39 seconds. And as we start descending, we're going to go ahead and adjust our speed accordingly. We're going to take a left. I set up my flight management display here in FMS. I set it up to heading or track up mode. So here we are on our left, and now we are on our descent. So we can see our speed is increasing, so I'm going to back off on the power. And now we are 6.8 nautical miles. Let's see what the vertical speed target is. 578 feet a minute. Descending at about 500. Backing off on the power quite a bit here. Got to get it down to 2300. Let's go ahead and listen again to the ATIS, or not the ATIS, but the ASOS. And that would be COM 2.
Kilo Hotel Quebec Mike automated weather observation
2908.
0000 Zulu.
So I'm going to bring the
182 at 6. Visibility 10 in
2908.
heavy rain. Sky condition. Few clouds at 2,400 feet.
4600
feeling
overcast.
4,600
So we
feet
got plenty of
overcast.
visibility today.
Temperature 8C, dew point 10C. Altimeter 29908.
Now what I want to do is I want to contact Hoquiam, cancel flight following.
Seattle approach Cessna 7 Charlie Charlie, cancel flight following.
Cessna 7 Charlie Charlie Seattle approach cancellation received. Squawk 1200. Frequency change approved.
And that'd be ident. Transponder code 1200. Back. And then what I want to do now is contact Hoquiam. Are we within range yet? Bowerman Hoquiam. And then we're going to go ahead and traffic. Runway for landing would be 24. And then now it's full stop landing. And now it's our position.
Kilo Hotel Quebec Mike traffic Cessna November Charlie
So
77
non-towered.
Charlie Charlie 19er miles east 3,400 feet inbound to land runway 24.
So we're just about now at 2300. No, we're not. We're 1,000 away from it. When it starts flashing like that, in the bigger planes, you'll hear like almost like a phone tone. You don't hear that. Maybe you can in real life. Maybe you can turn up one of these panels or whatever. But it does flash whenever you're 1,000 feet from your destination altitude, I suppose that's a good way of saying it. Looking at some farms here. this is just an amazing program. You know, it's really come a long way. I remember flying Microsoft Flight Simulator with a two-dimensional cockpit, and you know, just kind of experimenting with it and whatnot, you know, back in the day. And then they came out with the 3D panels, and then they came out with trees. I'm like, look at that, trees. So we're about 200, almost to our bottom of descent. And BOD right there is bottom of descent. Now what I want to do after okay, now we are on our bottom of descent. We are on intercept now. We got our altitude. Now what I want to do is I want to switch my CDI to localizer mode and then hit approach. Okay, so now we have our localizer. Glide slope is activated. GS is activated. And we're not following it yet, but we are now activated on our glide slope, and we are following the ILS. And as we are now slowing down, I'm going to go ahead and bring it to this right here. My understanding now, maybe some of you pilots can comment on this, but my understanding, this is a flap safe zone. So we bring it down to about 80 knots, and I'm going to go ahead and put my mid flaps down, and then now increase the speed a little bit, or power a little bit, to adjust accordingly. So now we got our flaps 1. We got 4 settings on our flaps. And then now when this diamond comes down to where we are, well, we should descend accordingly.
Kilo Hotel Quebec Mike traffic Cessna November Charlie 77
Still can't see
Charlie
the
Charlie
runway yet.
15 miles east 2,300 feet inbound to land runway 24.
On the approach plate here, there are minimums, but really a lot of information. There's some good tutorials on YouTube that you can find, but our minimum's 216. So if you can't see the runway at 216, you must go around, and there's a go around procedures. But I don't think we're going to have to worry about that today. I mean, I can already see some of the ground now, so go full screen again. We are following laterally the localizer by hitting the approach. However, we still haven't captured the glide slope yet. As far as going down, that won't happen until this diamond comes down to our level. And we got the final approach fix, and I believe that's going to happen when we hit Nadi, or is it? Yeah, it would be Nadi. So we keep it at around 80. We got an 11 knot. On this right here, I like to have option 3 for our wind, and so we got the wind, we got option 3 right there, and that tells us the direction and the knots. But we got an 11 knot headwind right now, running into some rain. Been raining this spring quite a bit in Washington. And if it's raining in Bremerton, it's definitely going to be raining in Hoquiam, because they even get more rain than we do. Not too far away from here is some of the rainforest and the Olympic Mountains. And on this side of the mountains, they can get up to 12 feet of rain a year. And on the other side of the mountains, Hoquiam and Port Angeles, that area, they get about maybe a foot and a half, about 17 inches of rain a year. I see a light up there. I'm not sure if that's the runway or not. I believe that it is. So we are still not on the glide slope yet. Get this right here. We're going to kind of zoom in a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and just go full screen there. And so we have top of descent. So that's where we're going to start our descent. It's just right around where Nady is. Steady 81 knots. A lot of trees. Hoquiam is known for their forest industry, lumber industry. Hoquiam, Aberdeen, all of those are lumber towns. Shelton. We are now 4.1 nautical miles away from our final approach fix, and the runway is in sight. Okay, I got my mixture now at full. Got the mixture right here at full. Flaps. We're going to go down here as soon as we start descending. The wind's about a 10 knot wind, but it's a steady, it's in front. Bouncing around a little bit here. We're moving around a little bit. Not really bouncing around, but moving around. We are on the autopilot. And ahead of us is the Pacific Ocean. I'm just keeping it at a steady 80 knots. I'm not really in a hurry. Okay, now we are getting pushed around a little bit. There's a channel, a real pilot that flies a Beach Bonanza G36, and he does some IFR flights and whatnot. And he broadcasts that on YouTube. And the name of the channel is called Bruce Air. And I encourage anybody to watch that channel. It's a fun channel. It's really neat that he's sharing his experience. And he's got several cameras rigged up in the cockpit, and all the audio rigged in there as well. And he edits them. He doesn't do the entire flight. He edits the flight so that it's not as redundant. So now I'm going to go ahead and put full flaps, and I'm going to tell them that I am now
Kilo Hotel
on
Quebec
my
flight traffic Cessna
on the
November Charlie
final.
77 Charlie Charlie is on final runway 24 to land.
Keep it around 73 here, and now you can see that diamond now is where we are. And so now we start our descent. Trying to keep it around 70, around where that Y is. And then the G, I understand the Y would be, what is that, real-time pilots? What's the Y, G, X, and R? I know R is rotate, and I believe Y is to glide. G G's, would that be the ground speed, or you want to land at about 65 knots? Got Hoquiam right there to our left. I don't know if that's photogrammetry or if that's Black Shark AI, but it looks real. I mean, it's just amazing what they can do with the buildings. I mean, Bremerton is Black Shark AI, but there's, you know, stores like Fred Meyer are shaped the way they're shaped, and even though it's not a photogrammetry, it's certainly buildings shaped like they're really shaped. But my house is pretty much shaped how it is, even though it's not photogrammetry. So we have on our precision approach path indicator lights, we have, looks like 2 white and 2 red. Pretty calm wind. The wind is 5 knots, so it's not too bad, which is Hoquiam can be known for their really violent winds, so this is actually a pretty calm landing here. Got a couple of boats out there in the water. I got full flaps, full rich. Autopilot is still on. Our glide slope is active. The GS is green now. Remember, GS was white before we captured it, and it turns green. We are on the localizer ILS approach. So it's actually not raining now. We were in a little bit of rain earlier, but over the airport itself there's no rain, so that's pretty cool. What Bruce Air did is he did an IFR flight here, and he did an approach to the localizer here, runway 24, and then they did a circle to land on the runway 6. Back off just a little bit on the power here as we approach, just a tad bit here. You can see that lumber down there. There's some lumber, things like that. They're definitely known for their lumber. 500, 420. 500, I believe that's above ground level. So we got it down to 69, 68. Still flying off the ILS. The autopilot. Autopilots in real life probably wouldn't be flying the autopilot right now, but I still am. And now autopilot is off. And we are now a side line there. Flare. Right rudder. Yeah, we got it. Look at this now. Look what happened with the wind. Anyway, it was pushing from the left. So flaps up. I'm on the ground. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going this way over here. If I can find a taxi ribbon. I'm doing a lot of right rudder here, so I do believe that there's a side wind here. Oh, that was a little bit tricky because we were running into a headwind initially. So clear the runway.
Kilo Hotel Quebec Mike traffic Cessna November
Welcome to
Charlie
Hoquiam,
77
Washington.
Charlie is clear of the runway.
And what I want to do is I want to, as an amateur, as a non-pilot, but I want to record videos going all the way down the coast. And what my plan is to go down the west coast all the way down from here all the way down to South America, the southern tip of South America, and then fly all the way up the coast along Brazil and whatnot. And I'm just curious how long it would take, and curious of some of the things that we might come across as we see it. And anybody watching, they're certainly welcome to watch or watch later. What I'm going to do after these videos are completed is I'm going to break it down. I'm going to break it down from the takeoff to the cruise to the descent to the landing. Yeah, you can hear that wind blowing, so it is blowing around. A couple of guys there, I think they'll let me park. Alrighty, this guy right here is being nice. He's signaling for me to park. Coming right in. This way? Okay. Straight ahead? Oh, that way. Sorry. Right there. Thank you, sir. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just shut everything down here. I'm going to hit the brake here. And I have, I'm going to go ahead and, I guess the first thing we need to do, I didn't have my taxi lights on when we were taxiing, but anyway, pitot heat off. We didn't run into any icing, so I was kind of concerned about that. I'm going to go ahead and turn the switch off. And of course it's going to say, hey, hey, hey. And got the alerts there. So we're going to go ahead now. And on the fuel there, I'll just go ahead and cut that off. Switch that off, switch that off, switch that off, switch that off. And then lights off, camera, action, and standby off. And this concludes episode 1, I guess you can call it, of Microsoft Flight Simulator Journey to South America and back. Have a good day, everyone.